And we are back on Build Phase TV, and today we are going to talk about the final 3 cards out of the Thunderbolts expansion, which is pretty cool for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's new cards, which we always like new cards, but more importantly, this is the triumphant return of the Upper Deck First Look stream. For anybody who wasn't around last year, the First Look streams were something that they started with the Fantastic Battles and did a little bit and then kind of fell off. And what it is Upper Deck reaches out to a content creator within the Versus community. They send them copies of the product early, and then on release day, we get to see the new cards in action, played by real players, and it puts a little bit of shine on community content creators, which admittedly I have a bias in this area.
Because you are.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Upper Deck giving some recognition to content creators, but also it helps create more energy in the Versus community as a whole. If people see, hey, if I make some content, Upper Deck might reach out to me to do something cool like this. That inspires more content creators, makes more content, makes more energy in the Versus community. These are all positive things. So not only am I excited for new cards, not only am I excited for Deconstruct the Universe, or the return of the First Look streams. On a third level, I am excited because the crew chosen for this particular First Look stream is the Deconstruct the Universe guys, which shout out to them. They do an awesome thing sourcing the card art on Versus cards. In old Versus, the artist who did the card art was credited on the card. In new Versus, for whatever reason, they've chosen not to do that, and the Deconstruct project essentially does all the hard work to track down where these card arts came from and let everybody know, to give artists the credit they deserve, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. I have recognized a few of other games' cards from different comics I've read, actually. Marvel Universe, I actually know.
True to form, they gave us both the card and the panel of art that it came from, which I think is really cool. They probably had a little bit of time getting the product early to source this, so it wasn't as much as a mad dash as it typically is when cards are revealed, but I think that's really cool that they opted to do that way. Oh, got a YouTube video uploading here for something else. Just had to make sure that was still going. Okay, so to focus on the task at hand,
I know what that
let's
was.
make sure that this is...
Earlier.
Yeah, that fits perfectly. Okay, so let's look at Venom. Now this is, I think, the Mac Gargan Scorpion character when he got the Venom suit, if I remember right.
Scorpion got the Venom?
This card art is incredible. So here's the panel it comes from, which is also incredible. I could not be happier with this card art. This looks like the kind of card art that a fan of this character was like, I want the coolest looking piece of art I can find for Scorpion Venom. Where is it? Where can I find the coolest art?
Like Scorpion, they don't really care for Venom.
And they went on a quest and they found this, which looks amazing. I could not be happier with this art. But what does the character do? So he is a 6-cost 6/6 with 2 health. He has AKA Scorpion, and he has Berserker, and he has Symbiosis.
Oh, that's awesome! Oh, Berserker with Symbiosis. That's going to be awesome, so I can just attack a whole bunch of times.
He's going to be a 7/7, 6-cost the turn you play him. Because you're not going to play this guy if you're not attacking. It'd be like,
maybe there's nothing to attack and you're just playing him to become scary.
Isn't this the same as Civil War She-Hulk? Wasn't she a 6-cost 6/6?
With Berserker.
Who got with Berserker, right? And 2 health?
But definitely not.
But not Symbiosis?
So this is just a better card.
I might be remembering She-Hulk wrong here. Let me pull She-Hulk up here real quick. I think this card is definitely playable.
I'm still waiting for Carnage.
Well, we're not there yet, buddy.
I'm still waiting.
So, okay, She-Hulk is a little bit different. She is a 6-cost 7/7/3 with Berserker, and this guy is a 6-cost 6/6/2 with Berserker and Symbiosis.
And Mantle and AKA Scorpion.
I think this is better.
I like it. I like this card a lot.
I think you play this guy out. Yeah, maybe he gets stunned, but he doesn't lose his counters, so he keeps growing.
Good light onto Venom.
I think this is a great card.
I do too.
This might be the best 6-drop for the Pro Reg team. You think? What are the other ones? I can't even remember. Here I am
They're
referencing
so bad
Pocket
that
Versus
we
multiple times.
they're so bad that we can't even remember the other ones. Still, it was my idea to make it so that you can swipe.
Oh man, I'm making a mess of this trying to find the other 6 drops. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now because we're live.
You were like clicking everything.
Look at that. Bert called me out that she's a 773.
Ha.
Yeah, putting a might makes right on this guy is definitely
Gonna be awesome.
crazy in terms of a line. There's other cards that can produce +1 counters, and the thing is, when he gets the +1s, they're gonna stick around.
Yeah.
This guy's great.
I like this card a lot. I don't think there's a world where you don't want to play this.
I mean, from top to bottom, it's a 6/6/2 for 6 is not the end of the world, but it's not amazing in terms of.
I want to say this. Of course, this is always going to be a thing. That's true. All cards you don't put in every deck. This card you don't put in every deck. But it's even with that, it's still an amazing card. This shines a lot of light on Venom.
He fits in a lot of decks, though.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we say, "Oh, you couldn't play this card in such and such
He fits in
deck,"
a lot of decks.
it's because there's something that card needs to work. Like we were talking about Hawkeye just a little bit earlier today.
That video
Unboxing video is
uploaded.
currently uploading while we
That's why
speak.
we were making sure it was uploaded.
And she is a fine card, but if you play her in a deck that doesn't have blues that can be spent on her, she's much, much, much worse.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't need anything else. He doesn't need to combo with any other cards, although, like C-Stacks pointed out in the chat, he definitely could combo with MMR and be even crazier. I mean, you play this guy, if you think of him as a 3-turn combo, or 3-card combo on turn 6 of this guy, MMR, and 1 green, he's going to be an 11/11 on turn 6 when he attacks. And even if your opponent can clip him back, he's still an 11/11 when he flips up.
He could be more. You're playing Daredevil.
Okay. But that makes it a 4-card combo. You're right, but that makes it a 4-card combo.
You play Daredevil on turn 3 or 4. I can't remember what his cost is. And then...
I mean, if you really want to get crazy, you have 2 greens, 2 MMRs, and this guy on turn 6.
And a Daredevil.
This card's great.
And I don't remember if this is a card, but...
The only decks where this guy doesn't fit are the decks where you need a very specific 6-drop.
Yeah, this guy, like all cards, he doesn't fit in every deck, but he fits in a lot of decks because he's so good. And
let me finish my thought here, buddy, because he does fit in basically every deck. Yeah. But the only deck where he's going to hurt you...
is in a combo deck where you need specific cards.
Yes, if you need 6-drop Iron Man. If what you want from your turn 6 is to flip a location face up, this guy doesn't do that. But any deck that doesn't have a very specific... Like if it's a Floki deck, this guy's not drawing you extra cards. Mm-hmm. But other than that, he the only way that including this guy in your deck could hurt you is if he's taking that card slot away from a better suited card.
Yeah.
As a card, this guy has no drawbacks. This is just really, really good.
I just want to point out, in this art, that guy that's in front of Venom, why can I not seem to find his leg?
I like how this guy's head is still in the frame.
Yeah, but I just don't understand. Why can't I find the leg on that guy? Where's his leg?
It must be behind some debris. Is there no... Oh, no, that's Venom's leg.
Yeah.
Is Venom both smashing a car, killing this person, and just tripping this guy off in the background, like, for lols? It does kind of look like he's like, oh, I'm dealing with this car, but also I'm going to trip this guy. That's funny.
What was he doing to that car anyway?
I don't remember what's happening here.
I mean, I'm reading Civil War. You took me off my Civil War stuff.
This guy got knocked off a... So is this Venom here?
Nah.
And he falls and then turns into Big Venom as he goes over the side. I'm not sure what's happening in this panel, but I don't really care. Notably, pretty sure that's a Toyota logo. So this guy's like, no Toyotas, your punishment. So no, old school Venom.
Your punishment is death.
Brock Venom is like, I only kill the innocents. And this guy's like, a Toyota? Not on my watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from Venom.
Toyotas.
This card's great. Moving on from Venom, let's talk about Doc Ock. Before we look at the card, what do we think of this card art? This panel looks cool.
I kind of like it.
He's got kind of a I'm very pleased with myself kind of vibe going on.
He's rubbing his belly like he just ate a good piece of toast.
Let me make sure this card is well displayed. Okay, we can see it on the stream. This guy's a little bit smaller for whatever reason. 2 cost Dr. Octopus. He is a 3/4/1. Oh, Eddie Brock drove a Toyota. That's why Mac is like, no. So the Venom symbiote, due to having daddy issues with Eddie Brock, decided to smash the Toyota. Okay, back on to Dr. Octopus.
Yes, he doesn't like Toyota.
Brilliant scientist. Build phase. Pay a green. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put one into your hand, and shuffle the rest into your deck.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that.
Wow. So this is basically Global Information Network.
It costs the same thing.
But instead of getting to look at 5 cards, you get to look at 3, and you get a body.
Yeah. Even though he has 1 health, he's a 2 cost. And, yeah, you maybe need that yellow, but
wow,
he's another person for your opponent to deal with, and you can do this as long as he's alive.
There's something about this art that reminds me of Santa Claus.
Yes, it does.
Like he's got a tummy here that jiggles like a bowl full of jelly.
And if we imagine him in his red costume, and let's just say those are jingle bells.
Oh, these are the jingle bells?
No, those are jingle bells.
Oh, this
on
is
his
so...
belly. The things are...
I mean, I do think the card art is representative of the character.
He's rubbing his belly after eating a good piece of toast.
This is not a piece of art where it's like the dude has a gun or a bow and arrow, but no range. It's not a piece of card art.
Are you just referencing Taskmaster?
Yes, I made a Taskmaster reference. But it does have a goofiness to it. But isn't that fair for this character? Like, Dr. Octopus in the classical representation is kind of a goofy guy
who replaces
in a jumpsuit and a bad haircut.
Who puts his mind into Spider-Man's brain because he doesn't want to die from cancer.
Like, this guy went to the barber and got this haircut and then was like, oh, this doesn't look good. Oh, you know what to fix it? Some sunglasses. Okay, Otto.
I've had so much conversations with you and everyone else in my family about how cheesy his haircut always looks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's insane.
Bert's pointing out that he requires yellow. Yes, so we have to say Jessica Jones out loud because he uses
Jessica
yellow.
Sucks.
I don't think Jessica is as big a deal with this guy as he is with other characters because he costs 2. I play this guy on turn 2. He does his thing before Jessica even hits the board. Yeah, that does put more pressure. So if you're in the kind of deck where you want to have the most consistency possible, you're probably already playing Global Information Network. You're probably already playing Yellow Gem. Maybe you're on the Pro Registration Spider-Man. That's a lot of hunger, a lot of pressure on your yellows. So in a deck where you have these other things that want yellows, do you run Doc Ock instead of Globo? I think so.
I think so.
I think I would rather have a body
that can do the same thing, and he can do it multiple times.
Oh, we should point out that things like Nick Fury, the Disruptor card, what's it called? Electron Disruptor from the Secret Avengers box. Things that target superpowers hit this guy. They don't hit Global.
But the thing about this card is that I feel like you keep on passing by is that this guy, he's a body that has the same thing as Global, right? But he can use it more times than Global, and it only costs you playing him.
And these stats aren't bad, too.
Yeah.
Like,
I wish he had 2 health, but that's a really, really, really good ability, so I think it's kind of fair.
Oh, sure. We should mention, if you want to play Iron Man, you wish this guy had 2 health. But
if you want to play anybody, you wish they had 2 health.
I mean, if you can get somebody in the front row
or more
and hide this guy in back, his stats are aggressive enough that he's not going to just come down and die. This isn't like a 2-drop with 1-drop stats and a really good power. This is a 2-drop with 2-drop stats. Not crazy good, but good enough. I mean, there's 3-drops who have these similar numbers that see all the play in the world. So I think 2-drop with 2-drop stats and an excellent power, this is amazing. I see you giggling at C-Stack's comment. What did he say?
I read the thing twice already.
Legend says that if you
hilarious.
say her name in the mirror 3 times, she'll appear with a bottle of vodka and throw you through a wall and tear up all your yellow locations.
I know I shouldn't be laughing about something with beer.
Okay, well, we already said her name twice, so let's not say it again.
Jones.
Oh, no!
Jessica Jones sucks.
Do you think she'll share the vodka? I don't... It's probably like bad vodka. I'm not going to talk about vodka with you. That's weird.
I know what vodka is.
This got weird all of a sudden.
I know what vodka is, but now this feels extremely uncomfortable that we're talking about something I'm not eligible to drink.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you opinions on alcohol again. That's bad parenting.
I can't even drink it.
This is a great card.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yes, if you get him into play and you build your board to protect him and keep him in the back row.
You can just do it so many times.
Where I was going with this is it could be like a trough use case, a valley in his power level. Could be you focus your board on trying to have guys in front to protect this dude in back to get multiple uses out of him, and you play him, you use him once, and your opponent plays Jessica Jones.
And then you play Monarch.
That's maybe the worst use case. If your opponent can protect that Jessica Jones, now you end up with a 2-drop who can't really fight and can't do anything else.
Well, the thing is, but then, I mean, if you're doing what you say, what you're saying, you have a whole bunch of guys in front to just kill Jessica Jones. Yeah, maybe they have 3 wounds and tough, but still.
Well, and we do have basically on-turn lethal now. Like, we've had Elsa Bloodstone for years who could come down and be lethal, and now we have, what's the Defenders guy's name? He can also invent, Frank Drake. He comes down, he gives all Night Stalkers legal, but, I mean, who cares? If you're playing him as an answer to Jessica Jones, you're playing him for him, not for the benefit he can give to Blade or the other Night Stalker. So you've got him on 3, we've had Massacre for years on 4, so there are ways to just come down and, like, clip your opponent's Jessica Jones out of there, provided you can get to her, yada, yada. This guy's good.
I like him.
Yeah. There are going to be times where your opponent is going to punish you for investing 2 resource points in this guy instead of something like Match. But, I mean, that's true of every card. Every card can't be everything, and this card is great for what it's doing.
Except for Dark Phoenix. They can destroy everything.
I don't want to talk about Dark Phoenix anymore.
Dark Phoenix is the worst. Never to be talked about again.
Maybe never again. Okay, so then we have... Oh, look at this. We got 2 more. I thought there were only 3 cards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've seen Helmet Zemo.
This character, before I get into it, this panel is something...
13.
In my arguing with Vern about how Tony Stark is a villain in the Civil War, this exact moment is something that I've referenced a couple times. Because Sharon Carter is saying, you guys are shooting at Captain America. Like, did you think you were going to get him on your side by putting guns on him? He's the first super soldier. He fought through World War II. He does not take kindly to being shot at. And Maria Hill's like, yeah, that's why I brought so many guns. Okay, that makes you a villain, Maria. Anyway, yeah. Sharon Carter. So the original Sharon Carter, the 2-drop, is one of my all-time favorite cards in the game. I love it. Yeah. This is going to have some big shoes to fill.
Sharon Carter killed Cap.
Well, she was mind-controlled by Dr. Faustus, though. And technically, she didn't kill him. The gun that she used separated his soul and threw him into a different period of time. Time traveled his soul with the intent of Red Skull using that time travel to eventually give him the power of himself, the power of Steve Rogers. So we'd have, like, Captain America, Red Skull, or whatever. It's been a long time since I read that, and I don't totally remember the Rebirth story arc for Cap. Bottom line, Sharon Carter didn't want to kill Captain America. She didn't like set out to do it, unlike Tony Stark, who absolutely tried to kill Captain America during the Civil War storyline.
Tony Stark just kind of...
Because he's a villain.
I know that some people probably get mad at me saying this, but I don't really like Tony Stark, to be honest. He's like my least favorite character in the entire Marvel universe.
It depends on how much you like cockiness. If you like a character...
He's a cocky beer drinker.
Thinks the world of themselves, and I kind of get it, because like Han Solo as a character is extremely cocky, and I love Han Solo. I don't love Tony Stark, and I'm not sure I can figure out exactly what the difference is there. Probably because Han Solo is a nobody with nothing who's cocky about his own capabilities, and Tony Stark is a somebody with everything who's cocky about being born on third base.
I just want to say this much. I don't like Tony Stark. I feel like the main reason for it is that he literally has billions of dollars. He's kind of wasteful with them. And he acts like he's the smartest man in the world. And he's just cocky and full of himself.
Yes, he is. But I guess so is Batman, and I love Batman. So maybe I'm just a big hypocrite.
Not
I don't
really
know.
Full of himself.
Let's talk about Agent
He has
13.
nobody else to be full of. They're all dead.
So Agent 13,
Bland.
I do really like this card art, even though I acknowledge it's maybe not like if this was family photos, you'd be like, oh no, we need to take this picture again. Sharon's eyes are closed, you know.
While you watch all the different Captain America things.
But in context. I really like this. I like the Captain America background stuff. There's things about this art that I like a lot, although I acknowledge this maybe isn't the best art panel for making Sharon Carter look cool.
Yeah. Okay, now shield training. I'm just going to skip to that, okay? I'm just going to skip to
let's not skip. Let's go AKA Sharon Carter. So even though she's called Agent 13 here, you would not be able to play her along with her 2-drop version, her shield version. They could power each other up, although why you're powering up 1 and 2 drops, that's probably not the line. She's a range 3/1/1 on turn 1. This is not great stats.
KO a supporting character or equipment with cost 1 or less. I heard you say that now. She can just straight up get rid of things.
So what 1-drops does she care about KOing?
I wish that was 7 or less so I could just straight up KO all the Serpent Crowns possible.
I mean, in a world where we care about 1-drops, where 1-drops are really, really important, Tim Buba is going to see play.
You can get rid of the Electron Scrambler if he's ruining your die.
You're not going to be able to... You're not going to be able to use her against Tim Buba, because if Tim Buba's in play, she gets KO'd and you can't play her.
Well, here's the thing. You could use this against an Electron Scrambler if it's ruining your die forever.
We need to... So, not to keep beating this drum, but we really need to get an answer from Upper Deck as far as whether the word cost checks printed cost or not. Because if your opponent has a machine in play, she could KO 2-drops, maybe.
I believe that it's only printed cost. Because, I mean, if you're saying costs, you know... if I have a 7-drop, but I can reduce its cost, so now some of your effects just don't work on it?
Well...
It has printed cost of the 7.
So I agree with you that my first interpretation of this is printed cost, not cost plus the discount that you get from Machine, Peggy Carter, etc. However, when we were discussing this in the Discord or the Facebook, wherever it was being discussed, C-Stacks pointed out that there are actual cards that say, blah, 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 printed cost. So the lack of the word printed here, even though the machine doesn't actually reduce the cost, it reduces the amount you have to pay to recruit, which is not quite the same thing. I want to
say this much.
We just need a ruling. We need clarity on it.
So, I feel like it's printed cost because when an ability says a specific cost, the thing is, maybe you played it for a lower cost, but it still has that much value of that cost.
Sure. I am inclined to agree with your interpretation.
In my opinion.
However, the existence of cards in the game that reference printed cost sort of makes it seem like either there's a templating inconsistency, which would be not that surprising in Versus, or they left the word printed off of this card on purpose. But you know what the real play would be? You play this card, you pay the red, and you KO your opponent's one of the machine.
Yeah.
You don't even worry about KOing your characters.
I was going to talk about the machine
you KO
like that
the machine.
as well.
You KO their nullifier. No, you can't KO the nullifier.
Right, why?
Because it costs 2, and this is 1 or less. So the new Electron Scrambler, which you already mentioned.
I mentioned that. You can get rid of a horrible Charlie 27.
The invention weapon.
I know that
there just aren't that many 1 or less cost equipment. I mean, I guess
it can also
an
be
inhibitor collar.
Characters, Dad.
Yeah, or it could be supporting characters. I'm just trying to think of the use cases where there's a supporting character that costs 1 or less that I, for some reason, can't get to.
Because it's a Charlie 27.
Yeah, but on my turn, Charlie 27's a 1/1, and I just hit him with range, and I don't spend a red on it. Right?
Yeah, but I'm...
Oh, Isosphere. That's a good suggestion, Bert.
That is a very good one.
So this is a card that's going to get better over time as we see more and more low-cost equipment and more low-cost characters. Like, even though I think Prowler's maybe the best one-drop they've ever given us, I would never spend a red to kill Prowler. He's already done his damage. He's already come down for free.
He's already made you draw your card.
Isosphere is probably
the best,
but if my opponent's not showing any locations and I have one red location,
then take the Isosphere.
I don't want to KO the Isosphere. Yeah, I want to steal it with Battle of Wills. So
I want the Isosphere.
There are going to be use cases where you use this to kill an Isosphere, inhibitor collar, a machine.
It can be
but
good,
it's kind of narrow.
I feel like it's just not good enough.
Oh, C-Stack says, yeah, Charlie has 3 health, so this could essentially KO him, whereas just attacking him isn't going to get him cleared off the board. That's a good point.
It just, yeah. Wait, does KO...
I mean,
if they have a turn
so let's look at other popular one-drops. You're never going to use this on Iceman, ever. Doesn't make any sense. Maybe a very, very narrow use case where you only have one attack.
That costs 2. I'm joking.
Well, then that doesn't work.
Yeah,
unless maybe it works because we still haven't gotten clarification on that question from.
I want it now, and I think I
from Upper Deck.
It, but then again,
I'm. So there's going to have to be a specific meta. There's going to have to be a meta where you're worried about one drops. Yeah, I mean, I guess Solo. Again, though, I'd kind of rather just attack and kill Solo that way than spend the red. But it's going to have to be a deck where you have reds, where you... I should say, like I do normally when we see a one-drop that has a superpower, historically speaking, most one-drops with superpowers don't see play and their superpowers don't get used. Charlie is, of course, an exception to that, but...
Charlie's the best.
I think given his 3 endurance... he's kind of the exception to the rule because he sticks around until at least turn 3 or something. So he isn't strictly a 1-drop with a superpower. He's a 1-2-3 drop with a superpower that's also relevant throughout the whole game.
Gets lethal.
Cards like Lockheed or whatever that was, that doesn't get seen. You know, Zola gets played and he has a superpower, but he doesn't get played for his superpower. He gets paid for his keyword text.
Another thing is if they're playing a Zola, he wants to be KO'd if you're trying to use his superpower, which actually I have made a deck. I'm pretty sure it was my death deck where I wanted to KO Zola so I could get another Zola to just keep on KOing them and make my death super big.
I mean, if you think about this, like Bert's saying that just killing Solo is fine. I don't think I agree with that because if I play Solo and you play this plus a red to get rid of my Solo, you just 2-for-1'd yourself. Like, you had to spend 2 cards to deal with one of my cards? I don't think that's fine. I think that's a desperation move.
I think...
There's certainly going to be games where that's the right line of play because you can't get to the Solo in the back row and you're looking down the barrel of a rogue who's going to grow out of control super fast or something like that.
What I'm going to say is this. This card gets better the more cards that we see.
Well,
the more one-drops that we see, this card gets better and better. But the thing is, since we haven't seen every single card that they're ever going to put out. And
well, sure, okay, but that's...
We won't until the game ends. But the thing is, I feel like we don't actually have enough good one-drops right now to really put this and, like, talk about it at the best place that it can be used at.
There are going to be use cases where you don't have enough attacks. There's a problematic character in the back row. This inhibitor collar is going to ruin your turn. But how often are those use cases going to come up?
I just thought of something that might be a bit mean. If we do get the rule thing about printed cost and all that, or how much cost you have to pay for it, what if it's a difference between printed and the cost that we have to pay for it, and they play Galactus with a whole bunch of heralds, and you could just KO it?
Well, like in a world where they reduce the cost of Galactus down to nothing? Or to 1 or less, and then you can KO a Galactus with a... Okay, I agree.
I want to do that now so bad. I want to do it so
yes,
bad.
While we are coming up with use cases where she looks extremely good, I will fully concede that if I have enough heralds on the board that I reduce the cost of my Galactus to 0.
Or 1.
And this is actually another thing, because if these types of powers do react to cost reductions if I use, what's his name? Hyperstorm, I think. Whatever they get. No. Firewalker. Whatever the 5-drop is that you pay a red and reduce the cost of your Galactus by 1. If I have Herald and I have that guy and I reduce the cost of my Galactus that I pay down to 1, hypothetically, and I play him,
bam!
Does Sharon continue to see that I only paid 1 once it's your turn?
I believe.
And you can, or would she only be able to? So there's a couple of layers here. Cost reduction, is that going to affect this power? Like the machine?
I don't think it will, honestly.
Static cost reduction, like the Heralds of Galactus power, or I guess actually like the machine. I shouldn't use the machine of that. Is that going to be counted? Temporary cost reduction, using something like Wealthy to get an extra recruit point, or what's his name to reduce the cost of
Wealthy
Galactus.
Wouldn't work.
Does the card remember that you paid 8 less for Galactus because you spent 8 reds on your turn? That seems wonky. I don't think it's going to.
It's only ever going to be printed cost. But
so temporary cost reduction, I think we can probably rule that out as being something that Sharon's going to be able to target. Probably. But again, it's going to take a ruling from Upper Deck.
I think it's going to be printed cost, though. It's always printed
This is a tech card. This is not a card you just throw into your deck. Like the previous one, as I was saying with Venom, I can't go back like that.
We need to.
As I was saying with Venom, this guy never punishes you for being in your deck.
Unless you needed another card.
Oh, okay, he only punishes you in the form of opportunity cost. Sharon is a bit of a dead drop unless you specifically have something you're worried about here.
You need to take out.
And I suspect it's going to be more about equipment. This is more, I'm going to run this because I don't want to allow a turn 1 invention from Dr. Doom to fully run me over. This is a hard stop to that kind of combo deck.
I just thought about, I can't remember what his name is now, but the gunslinger, Predator guy, if he has a whole bunch of equipment and it's starting to get hard to deal with, you can kind of rule out some of his equipment with that. But,
I mean, that's so narrow.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, really narrow.
Yeah.
But yes.
Okay, so
Helmet Zemo, I don't have much to say about this page of art here.
We've already seen
it's fine.
Helmet Zemo.
So he's a 4-cost pro-reg 5/4/1 with range and violent. So he attacks for 10 as long as he's hitting a supporting character. I'd play that.
I like this card.
I play that on turn 5. And violent, this isn't like ferocious. This triggers on range. So he's a 10 range attacker on turn 4. That's just good, man. The only scenario where this is bad is if you, for whatever reason, the whole rest of your board is frozen down and the only character you're going to be able to attack with is the 4-drop you recruit right now, and the only character your opponent has to be attacked is their main character, and their main character has 6 health or 6 defense. Like, that's the only case where I can think of this character being just a total dud, do nothing turn 4. Otherwise, he's pretty much always good. Yes, might makes right makes him better.
Might makes right.
With violent, you get double the value out of your MMR. But I don't think you need MMR for this guy to be playable.
I want to use might makes right just so I can attack for 18/18. Correct? No, it's only attack. It's not defense. I actually haven't used violent that much.
So MMR would make him a 9/8, and when he attacks a supporting character, he would become an 18/8. And you could do that at range. So you could do that with some degree of safety depending upon your opponent's board makeup.
Yeah.
Seems good. Seems playable. I mean, not the most exciting card I've ever seen, but kind of like the Luke Cage on Anti-Reg. That's a nice Daredevil you have there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. This guy is a very clean answer to Daredevil on turn 4. C-Stacks is absolutely correct on that.
I like that.
Within the silo of just the Civil War arc, it's really cool how many of the characters have checks built into that arc, but they're not checks that are so crazy that you feel like miserable for even playing this. Like if on my turn 4 I play Daredevil and I get to attack with a 9/9, and then I have a couple other guys who get to attack with +2/+2. He's done some work. I feel pretty good about my turn. And then on your turn 4, you play this guy and just boom!
And I murder him to death.
Kill that Daredevil to death. Yeah, I mean, that sucks. That's not a line of play that I'm, like, excited to have had happen to me. But it's not such a crushing check that you feel like, oh, man, I wish I never would have even played my turn 4 that way. Yes, when we say MMR on this show, we are referring to the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. You take the vaccination plus 1 green location.
And make yourself even
I think I'm going to stop before I get into weird territory with this
joke.
These are good. These are all good cards, man. And they're good not only in terms of I want to play them, but they're good in terms of, oh, there's my favorite. They're good in terms of a new player can look at this and the reminder text is right there. They know what this guy does. Is 10 attack on turn 4 good? Yes, it is. You don't have to have a very robust knowledge of the card pool to be able to call out 10 attack on turn 4 as being good. Agent 13 is a little bit less of a new player-friendly card.
I'm pretty sure it was Bert who did mention in the comments that you can use him to kill a falcon so that you can hit their main character in the back row.
Oh, well, Banana actually said you could use Sharon to KO Falcon. And
I didn't read the name very well.
You get 2 characters to attack in the back row.
I just read the
which
comment
is true.
because it's a good point.
Again, though, I play my 1-drop, you play your 1-drop, plus you have to commit another card to it to clear my 1-drop out of the way. That does not feel very good.
It still can deal with a guy that you just can't hit with flavor.
I fully concede there will be times where that's the correct line. Like, 2 for 1-ing yourself to get an opponent's card out of the way is not... It's not ideal, but sometimes it's correct. And I totally agree with that.
Why are you talking on me?
C-Stack said that there's a warning that popped up on our video about the CDC because we talked about vaccines enough that they want to fact check us. Okay, so let's do our usual here. What do we think about Venom? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs medium?
Up all the way, all the way, all
the
way.
This guy gets double thumbs up. Again, the only time he's the wrong choice for your deck is if your deck
needs somebody else.
Needs a different specific card. Yeah, the opportunity cost is the only time when this guy's a bad play. Wow, he's good. Dr. Octopus, thumbs up on this guy too.
Oh yeah, I like this card.
I like him a lot. He is a little bit more specific in the kind of deck he's gonna want to go into. Like Venom is just generally good all over the place. Dr. Octopus, you have to have a little bit more finesse.
You need to be smart.
But if you're on yellows and you like cards, he's great. Agent 13, I think she's like a thumbs medium and a half. Like in the right situation, 2 thumbs up. But there's going to be plenty of times where her ability is just a dud and doesn't do anything.
I think medium down, medium up. So,
in not knowing anything else about your deck or the meta you're playing in or any of those details, just in a vacuum, I'll agree with you, thumbs medium. In the right meta, 2 thumbs up.
Yes.
But it's got to be the right meta. It's got to be the right
deck.
deck.
I completely agree with you.
She's not very versatile or flexible, and paying an entire card to get rid of one thing off your opponent's side.
An entire card off your opponent's side.
And it's so limited. Like even if this was just 2 costs, so she could clip nullifiers.
I wish it was anything, so I could just kill Galactuses.
Well, that would be ridiculous. A 1 cost with pay a red, kill anything you want would be too good. That would be absurd.
But it'd be awesome.
Yeah, if we had sideboards in Versus, Sharon would be an excellent sideboard card. That's the perfect card analysis, Banana. I totally agree.
I have no idea what a sideboard is, so I'm guessing that means that I don't play enough games.
Okay, well, what a sideboard is, we don't have this in Versus, but for people who don't have the experience with other games, I guess I should give the background.
I've heard about it.
So a sideboard is you show up at your game with your 60-card deck, and then you have your 15-card sideboard. And it's only something you would do in scenarios where you're playing a best of 3. So we play our first game, and then in between game 1 and 2, I can take cards out of my deck and swap and put in cards from my sideboard, then present that, and I can tweak my deck to target this matchup. That's how a sideboard would work.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that in a Hearthstone thing when we used to watch Hearthstone tournaments and stuff.
The specialist format of Hearthstone was very much like sideboarding, yes. And Argent Saga had sideboarding, too. Anyway,
guess I don't know enough about the games.
Helmet Zemo, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs medium.
Thumbs up all the way.
I think it's thumbs up.
This guy is awesome.
Yeah.
He can be so good.
And you never know everything. I'll always be ready to learn. Always be willing to learn. You know, whether
There's
it's about a
always
sideboard or anything else.
Specifically sideboards, you need to be ready to learn about.
It's a good rule for life to never be so sure in your body of knowledge that you are unwilling to listen or hear what other people have to say about their body of knowledge. We can all learn from each other.
We are going to make this a science lesson, though.
We don't have all the Thunderbolts cards here in front of us, but my general feeling is 2 thumbs way, 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 way up. We'll get a little bit more granular in terms of a full set review once I have Thunderbolts in my hand, but
I'm still waiting
these
for
cards look
the next
great.
set with the Carnage MC.
Okay.
I'm still
I get how
waiting.
excited you are for Carnage MC, but we're talking about Civil War still.
I'm still waiting for a Taskmaster.
Stop
MC
looking
as
past
well.
my favorite story arc ever to my next favorite story arc, which is Maximum Carnage and Lethal Protector. These are great cards. I think this is going to be a great set. I feel pretty good about all this stuff. I definitely remember there was at least one card in the Thunderbolts reviews where I felt like it wasn't a good fit for a new player friendly expansion, although I'm drawing a blank on what that card was at the moment.
It was a card.
But one card out of all of them being a little too complex for a new player, good. That's what we want.
We want them to learn and
incentivize players to get better at the game, to learn more. Yeah. All right. Any parting thoughts before we shut this down?
I think this is going to be a good set. I definitely cannot wait to get this in. Yeah, that's kind of it.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Bye.
Go win some games.